Okay, so we have been talking about parts and structures, and so we're going to finish up by looking at this picture and then finishing the parasympathetic system. Okay, so here's just a picture of everybody together. Here's your basic neuron right there. Then you have your astrocytes, and remember they're actually also attached to the blood vessels. The microglia are roaming around cleaning things up. The oligodendrocytes are connecting them all together and creating these myelin sheaths. And I think that is it for right now. Okay, so here we go. So then we also have some very specific cells for the peripheral nervous system. So the glial cells are those cells, and so they just refers to the peripheral nervous system. So Schwann cells are a particular type, and essentially they do the same job as the cells do in the central nervous system, but they are different cells because they're actually in their own cavities. They actually have to form themselves, and so the peripheral nervous system is actually a separate set of nerves and cells. And so Schwann cells form a myelin sheath around the nerve fibers of the peripheral nervous system, and they can only wrap around one neuron. So one cell is going to basically wrap, that Schwann cell has lots of layers, and the whole cell is actually wrapped around the axon of the nerve cell. And so that's basically what a Schwann cell does. It forms that myelin sheath. So the next one are called satellite cells, and here's the satellite cell out here. And notice again, it's kind of attaching. There's the Schwann cell kind of around the axon, and then the satellite cell is out here. And it's going to act like a cushion. It doesn't want things to bump into that axon, and especially since your peripheral nervous system is for sending information in. That means it's part of the system that is getting touched and bumped, and generally parts we use, and so you have these extra cushions to protect those particular cells. Okay, so the satellite cell kind of acts as that little buffer. This last picture is a great picture. It's good for you to use this picture to try to organize these cells in your mind and what their jobs are. So here is the satellite cells, and so those cells are acting as a buffer. The Schwann cell, it acts as the myelin sheath and wraps around. The oligodendrocytes are in the central nervous system. They also form the myelin sheaths, but the big difference here is the Schwann cell can only do one neuron, whereas oligodendrocytes could do up to 50. Astrocytes are responsible for filtering things out that are supposed to be going in to the neuron itself, and the microglia are wandering around. Now notice these are only actually in the brain. And then you have these epididymal cells that kind of form a nice cushion, and they are secreting a liquid matrix. Let's see. Okay, so types of nervous system cells. All types are called glial cells. Okay, neurons are the most common cell, and so there's our basic neuron that make up the central nervous system. The central nervous system cells are protected by glial cells, the astrocytes and microglia, the epididymal, and the oligodendrocytes. The peripheral nervous system are protected by glial cells. Types of glial cells for the peripheral nervous system are the Schwann cells and the satellite cells. Okay, so basically this is the last two slides here have just been to kind of help you to organize this in your mind.